Hello everyone, it's the TheCanadianWifier here. I have a battle for you today. I actually narrated this one take yesterday. I wanted to upload yesterday as well. Unfortunately, Camtasia, like immediately after I finished recording, just decided to corrupt the audio, like instantly. So I was pretty upset actually. Most nights in my dorm I have a very brief window at which point I can actually project my voice and talk at a reasonable volume like I am right now. And unfortunately last night I only got one shot and it got corrupted. So there's really nothing I can do. Anyway, getting into today's team preview, it looks pretty effing weird, doesn't it? Like, we have some little cup things going on my opponent's side, we have some Ubers going on my side. This is actually a tier that's been around for a while, but it's finally meta of the month now. It's called 350 Cup. And basically how it works is any mon that has a base stat total of below 350, so random little cup stuff like Hone Edge, Stunky, etc., have their base stats doubled. So you end up with crazy things like 200 special attack, Abra, 180 base speed, Ghastly, and just crazy things like that. And because of that, Ubers are unbanned, because when you're looking at things that have their base stats doubled, suddenly Arceus and Yveltal don't look quite as broken. It's also an excuse to use my Ubers team again. Queen of Lovedus quickly made a stall team. Go figure, Queen of Lovedus making a stall team, right? But he quickly made a stall team, threw it together, and shot me a challenge. And I decided, why the hell not? I know Ubers are unbanned. I can just bring my Ubers team. It was one of the first teams I made this gen. It has my favorite mon, Shaman Sky, and it also has stuff like a Sylvester Yveltal I just want to try out. So why not? Anyway, getting into the battle, I'm going to lead off with my Shaman Sky. Of course, it gets a pretty good team matchup against his entire team. It can either flinch stuff right off the bat, or get up a sub, or just start disrupting stuff right away. So, he ends up leading off a Chinchou, easiest C player of my life. He goes out to Stunky, and I do end up getting the special defense drop, which is nice. I'm just going to go for one air slash, get the flinch, and I wanted to predict the Ferroseed, but I'm not going to stay in even if I do get the special defense drop. So I'm just going to go for a safe air slash on whatever wants to come in. He ends up getting up rocks, but before I defog them away with my Arceus Light, I am going to burn this thing because it will help so much wearing it down. As you can see, his entire team will end up having leftovers and not a Violet. It's because a Violet's banned by 350 Cup, which is a good move in my opinion. Otherwise the whole tier would just be in a Violet and knock off Fuckfest. But regardless, going to be able to burn the Ferroseed. Won't wear him down as quickly as it would if he was a Violet, but it'll still wear him down. I defog away the rocks, get caught with a Clefairy, and with my Yveltal does nothing, forced to turn out into my Aegis Slash, and we're all caught up. I have a free Gyro Ball on his entire team. And he brings in Stunky, he sees that it's going to be 2 KO'd, and he has a nice free switch and just chilling there in Chinchou. He could even get a burn, etc., etc. So he's going to go right down to it. I'm going to King Shield. When was the last time you saw an Aegis Slash go for King Shield? That is some nostalgic shit right there. At this point, I'm just going to throw a Toxic out. Get something on a timer, he does have 3 immunities to Toxic and probably a Magic Article Fable, so he has 4 immunities to Toxic, but I decided I'd throw one out, assuming the Chinchou would stay in. Then I go for Pursuit, assuming he would Volt Switch, but he doesn't. And then I switch out, assuming he would switch out, predicting my King Shield, but he still doesn't. So a little bit, I don't know, he was making safe plays, and I was making very risky plays, or I was at least trying to predict early game, and that's not a good thing to do. At this point, I'm just going to go in, hit him up with a Dark Pulse. He goes after Clefairy. Gonna go for an Oblivion Wing just to see how much damage it'll do to the Clefairy, but unfortunately he switches out back into the Chinchou. At this point, free Dark Pulse is free because I see he's poisoned. Best case scenario, I get a flinch and he probably dies to Toxic. Unfortunately, he rests up. Luckily, I do get the flinch. I'm gonna predict this Clefairy coming out, go for the Oblivion Wing, and I see now that it does absolutely nothing, especially after lefties. So I'm gonna be forced to turn out, as I'm gonna go out into my Twofer. My Kangaskhan. I make the really bad, good, I don't know. I figured Hone Edge was very obvious, and I didn't want to go for a scrappy power-up punch and not Mega. I do have Earthquake, so obviously I could have scrappy powered-up punch on the switch and then killed him with Earthquake, but I didn't. And then I reveal Earthquake, and I assume he's going to switch, so I go for power-up punch, and I just predicted all over the place, and he didn't predict at all. He made safe plays, and I got burned for it. So keeping that in the back of my mind, I'm just going to make some relatively safe plays, because I realize at this point my only chance to win this game is to wear everything down to a point where Xerneas can come in and kill it all. I do have HP Fire on my Xerneas. I put that on at the start of this game because normally it has double team. That's the joke of this team. And I decided to throw on HP Fire because, unlike Uber's 350 Cup actually has a Vision Clause. Anyway, he was able to throw a Wish up in the air with his Clefairy on the turn that I come with a Shaman. Instead of going for an attack on his switch to Stunky, I didn't realize he was going to Wish Pass to the Stunky, and I decided to set up a sub. Unfortunately, I'm just going to be forced to get off some damage as he breaks it. I go for a Seed Flare. Unfortunately, I don't get the drop on this Hone Edge, which is hacks. It's an 80% drop with Serene Grace, which is, like, if you don't get that, I'm speechless. Anyway, Skyman here is going to do what Skyman does. You know what Skyman does? It flinches things to death. Unfortunately, I don't get one. He goes for Ironhead, and I don't know why he wasn't Shadow Sneaking this whole damn time. It does 30%, and it prevents the flinch at all, so weird play on his part. But at this point, I realized I'd much rather have a healthy Skyman than a dead Hone Edge, so I'm going to go for a Synthesis as he ends up going for a Shadow Sneak again, live a little bit, and I get the easiest switch out into Evital ever, because even if you wanted to go for an Ironhead or something like that, I could just Oblivion Wing it back. So, going to go for a Dark Pulse. Like I said, safe play is safe. Don't want him to just end up foddering that thing and have me over-predict and look like a fool. So, Dark Pulse plus U-Turn, just continue to chip away at this Clefairy, and at this point, he is going to throw a Wish up in the air. Still don't know if he's going to keep it himself or try to continue healing up that Stunky. Regardless, I'm going to go for a Synthesis because I still want Shaman at a high amount of health. If push comes to shove, I could theoretically flinch my way through his team. I'm going to go to my Arceus Light. Unfortunately, I get taunted. My goal there was to burn his Stunky, but he reveals taunt, and unfortunately, he's going to predict the very obvious judgment that I'm forced to go for and go into his Ferroseed. I'm going to head out into Oh Dear. At this point, he doesn't see HP Fire coming, which is great because he's just going to stay in Leech Seed. And if you know, if you play Gen 5 OU whatsoever, you know that even after lefties and Leech Seed, as long as you have burned the Ferroseed / Ferrothorn, they won't be getting much health back. And that's exactly what happened there. Luckily, he's going to go out into his Stunky. It's another Stunky versus Arceus matchup, but he was actually in Skype with me at the time, and instead of taunting, that's a very questionable play as to why he didn't taunt. Maybe he didn't want to get hit with a judgment, me predicting that, but regardless, he's going to go to Munna. He basically said, I'm going for game, this is enough. Turn 44, nothing's really died, and he was fed up. So I assume this is basically going to be a Musharna set, the same thing that Mushy does, just with about infinitely better stats, because it can eat up a max special attack, rash, or mild, or whatever hell nature I am, plus special attack nature, dark aura, dark pulse, and it does like 35%. I'm able to chew the Dazzling Gleam though, because Assault Vest, Master Race, you know what you already know. You watch enough Blame Truth, you know that Assault Vest is a great item. Unfortunately, I'm going to make a shitty play here. I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch when it was pretty obvious he was just going to try to get back up to full. At this point, I'm forced to Sucker again. It does do 52%, but after Lefties and Burn, the Mana is not in a good range. I'm basically forced to try to come in with Skyman and flinch it to death. It's one of my only plays. I'm going to go for the Air Slash. I do not get the flinch. And then he makes possibly the worst play I've ever seen somebody make in my life. He just decides to switch out. I'm not really sure why. I know that Stunky beat Skyman, but you also had a thing that was just chilling there. Like, okay, I can understand the play in a weird sense that he wanted to switch out and save it because it does beat my team, and he has a reliable check to Skyman and Stunky. But, like, I don't know. Regardless, I get taunted. I know the Sucker Punch is coming, so this is my chance. Everything's sufficiently weakened on his team, and I can easily go out into my Xerneas. And he makes the most questionable play I've ever seen, number 2. He doesn't taunt. I understand him predicting me to predict him to taunt and not going out to something, or I'm not even sure. But if you were to stay in that turn, what do you lose by clicking taunt? I know you would lose your Stunky, but if... Mind games. Mind games all over the place. I end up getting to set up, and what can you say other than oh dear. Whether you're in 350 Cup, whether you're in Ubers, if you give a Xerneas a chance to set up a Geomancy without a check, you lost, and there's nothing you can do about it. At this point, I'm just going to screw around with him for a few turns, just to try to drive home the point that he really screwed up. It was an interesting battle. 350 Cup is something I've been eyeing for a while, and I kind of wanted to try out, but I just cannot be bothered. Speaking of cannot be bothered, uploading in the last week, I guess, it's already Wednesday, isn't it? University is crazy, because the amount of work that gets dumped on you on a daily basis. Right now, I have assignments due in 3 out of my 5 courses, and midterms were about 2 weeks ago. I have exams coming up. They're starting in about a month. The early December is when exam week starts. And for some reason, my profs just decided, hey, now would be a great time to dump a bunch of extra assignments on you. So my plan was to upload on Halloween, which I did, and I actually am pretty proud of that Halloween upload. I don't know why. It's such simple editing, but it really drove home for me, and I really enjoyed. It's great when you enjoy what you upload. It makes me feel really good. But my plan was to upload throughout the whole week. And that just kind of failed. Also, I got a final kill with Skyman Master Race. I love you. If I could use you more without being hated on, I would. But regardless, I'm gonna try to upload a lot more consistently. I'm gonna try to do my best. That's what I'm gonna promise you. I'm gonna do my best to upload more consistently. Between Camtasia screwing up and very hard to find narration times in Dorm with other people yelling, and obviously thin walls and just lots of work to do. It's very difficult to find consistent upload times, but I'm gonna continue working my way through that. Hope you guys enjoy this one. If you did, a rating would be much appreciated, and I hope to see you guys all next time, whenever next time is. Take it easy, guys. Have a good day. See you later. Peace out.